Hey guys, what's going on? Doing something a little bit different today. I'm gonna do my first Digimon review. I'm a big Digimon fan, so it would make sense for me to start reviewing some of the toys. So, the first one we're gonna do here is the Digivolving Spirits 1 WarGreymon, which is Agumon to WarGreymon. I don't have the whole line. I only have like 4 of them. I want to get the whole line, but it's not the point. So it's on the side here. We see Agumon. You can see WarGreymon and Agumon, and it points out the die-cast parts. Inside we see WarGreymon mode. I'm trying to get this really nice artwork of WarGreymon and Agumon. It's a really cool box. This is essentially a remake of the Digivolving figure from the original series. And I had that as a kid. I don't have it anymore, but I did have it when I was growing up. So, and so they pretty much just updated it, made it look a lot better, and just essentially made a better figure. So here we have him in his Agumon mode. He actually comes packaged in WarGreymon mode, but I'm going to start on, because in the show he digivolves from Agumon to WarGreymon, so starting his Agumon mode. And I love it. I love it so much. I typically keep the SH Figuarts WarGreymon on my display, but this is a really cute little Agumon. So his pose ability is pretty decent. His arms can do a full 360. He does have an elbow, but it kind of breaks the illusion. His legs, he's got knees, he's got ankles, you know. Most of the articulation's more for the WarGreymon mode. When I can straighten his legs out, his ball joints are really tight even after all these years. But he looks really nice. I do like him. He doesn't have too much obvious kibble until you turn him around, and like there's the arms, there's a Draymond killer, and there's part of a WarGreymon's arm. But that's just the nature of these figures. That's just something about Digimon figures that I typically don't prefer the transforming ones, just because it's an organic being turning into another organic being, or it's a transform, it's a robot to a car, so the design makes sense. Whereas in the show, you don't see what you're about to see. Like, you turn Agumon around and you don't see the Draymond killers on his arm, you know what I mean? But you know, that's the nature of the beast with these. So let's go ahead and warp Digivolve him. So while in the show, you know, he'd flip, do his little energy blast thing, or he was on this. No, he was on this side. So yeah, he'd do his little flippy thing, and then he'd blast, and then you'd see Greymon, then you'd see Metal Greymon. Then he'd become WarGreymon. Whereas in the reboot, Metal Greymon digivolves directly into WarGreymon, and same with Try, but that's not how this toy works. So we're gonna go ahead and straighten his legs out. And turn the feet around, which are really tight. Which is weird because they haven't gotten loose at all over time. And then we're gonna turn his little claws around. Those are gonna be WarGreymon's legs. All right, there we go. So let's go ahead and pull the head up. We're gonna go ahead and raise the camera a little bit. Give me more room to work with. So his head's gonna be like that for a bit. And we're gonna go ahead and, these are gonna pop off really easily, but you're supposed to, yeah, we'll just go ahead and pop them off, it's gonna be easier. Pull those out. Then rotate his entire back section down. And we'll just get the legs out of the way. We'll go ahead and turn his head, and we'll close all that up. We'll get back to that. So on the legs, we'll turn these around. And those are going to attach to his legs. There we go. Straighten his armor out. And then we'll go back to this. We're gonna rip Agumon's skull open. And we'll connect WarGreymon's chest to the body or body to the waist rather, and we'll turn his arms around, and those will lock into place. We're going to straighten Agumon's half of his heads out to make the Brave shield. We'll talk about that in a minute. That'll just rest back there as his back. We're almost done. So let's get the spikes on his shoulder out. Extend the arms. Turn those around to make the Greymon killer. And then straighten the arms out, which actually in the show he does have the white claws on the Greymon killer. So that's actually a pretty good attention to detail. But then we'll go ahead and straighten his horns out. And there you go. We got WarGreymon in his WarGreymon mode. I almost wanted to say robot mode, but that's not applicable here. And I gotta say, from the front, he looks great. These are a little too big. Not completely accurate, but, you know, for what it is, I think it works for the most part. You gotta suspend some disbelief with these Digivolving figures because they're never going to be 100% accurate. But again, for what he is, I think he's a really nice figure. The only big noticeable kibble that bothers me, yeah. I mean, what else were they going to do? They really didn't have a choice. They really didn't have much of a choice there. What else were they going to do? Like, the only thing I can maybe think of is a separate piece to pull these off and put on, and it's maybe the same thing for these. If you could do that, you'd have an essentially perfect WarGreymon figure, but then you wouldn't have the perfect transformation feel, so, you know, there's that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think he looks incredible for the most part. It's just these side pieces and these wings, or that version of the Brave shield, that's the only blemish on this. But articulation-wise, his head can turn a little bit because of the design. It's a little hard to get head poses, but arms can do a full 360 in and out. He's got an elbow joint that goes back, wrist. Legs can go forward. They can go back. He's got a knee, and he's got a really tight ankle. But he does feel good. He feels really nice in the hand. He looks good if you like the transforming Digimon toys. Then he is right up your alley. And I like them as figures. But I typically, for Digimon figures, prefer like the SH Figuarts. So my go-to WarGreymon is still going to be the SH Figuarts WarGreymon. But that's just me. So here is the SH Figuarts WarGreymon, and yeah, he's a bit smaller. But in terms of in terms of his design, he's pretty much perfect. Like, this is how his Brave shield's supposed to look. This is how his side skirt's supposed to look. So, like, for Digimon figures, I typically would prefer these. The only thing I like better on this one in terms of design is the claws. I think the claws do look better than the pure white on this, but he does transform, which is a big plus for him over him, as this one doesn't transform, and I like transforming figures. So, if you want a better representation of WarGreymon, this is the way to go. If you want a fun toy to just dick around with that can transform and has Agumon and WarGreymon modes in it, this is great. And I mean, the paint's really good. He's really shiny. He looks beautiful from certain angles. Like when you turn him around, it's like, but of all the ones I have, though, he's still my favorite in the Digivolving Spirits line for sure. So, but that might just be because he's WarGreymon. But anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and take care. I should be hopefully doing more Digimon reviews soon. Take it easy.